This is the High School Crossfire. Welcome back.
We are tasked to show, in the resolution said tonight, we are tasked to show the stand of science and people. And we as a farmers, in the research we carried out, we found out that to a greater extent, yes, we understand that science has been helpful to the people. As stated by our good negators, we do agree it's been helpful. But we're here to show you the form of science that is an enemy to the people. A form of science that has caused threat to humanity. And of course, with threat, someone can't be your friend with threat. That's why we as a farmers believe that the forms of science listed down by my first a farmer, such as nuclear weapons and genetically modified viruses, these are a threat to humanity. The first negator comes here and talks and asks us about the good things science has done. Well, yes, science has been good. Modernization of agriculture, transport, very well. But we're talking about the science that is a threat to humanity. Ladies and gentlemen, nuclear, I said by my farmer, a nuclear can kill this whole entire earth 100 times and over, according to Stephen Hawking, the late. Ladies and gentlemen, of what help will the good agriculture be to us in case this whole universe is destroyed by nuclear weapons? Furthermore, she talks about basic issues. In the Nagasaki, Hiroshima attack by nuclear weapons, she claims that because of the indifferences, this led to the attack on Japan. Ladies and gentlemen, was this the best way America would settle the indifferences with the people? To date, people in Nagasaki and Hiroshima are suffering consequences of nuclear weapons, and this was 1945. Today, according by stated by my first farmer, according to Guardian.com, 9 countries having 16,000 nuclears, they are being kept in custody. Ladies and gentlemen, we as the farmers believe that the form of science, as according to late Stephen Hawking, a science genius, he came and said artificial intelligence is harmful to a group of people, putting the fact aside that artificial intelligence can lead to loss of employment. Artificial intelligence, according to Stephen Hawking, is having an IQ development of next to exponential, which is infinity. And according to Stephen Hawking, he claims by 2060, the intelligence, these robots will be able to develop themselves. And he states that at a greater extent, humanity will be at stake because these robots can destroy the entire earth. The mere fact that these robots will be able to develop themselves, ladies and gentlemen. We as the farmers believe that this form of science, artificial intelligence, dear land comrades, imagine yourselves being slaves to robots. Which robots are supposed to be doing the role we entail them to give to do? We as humans have an IQ, and this IQ is limited, ladies and gentlemen. But the robots we are creating with artificial intelligence having that development of their intelligence next to infinity and exponential. So with time, these robots, because they think for themselves, they do everything for themselves, just that the program by the people, these robots do everything for themselves. So by 2060, according to the late Stephen Hawking, he was in Paraguma and was scared. He was really troubled by 2060, the universe will be a slave to robots. Furthermore, as mentioned by Master Farmer, the existence of genetically modified viruses. According to the Atlantic.com, the H5N virus, which later turned out to be the avian flu, led to the death of 400 people in just a period of 1 year in Hong Kong. This virus was created by scientists who just wanted to benefit to themselves. In 1997, this virus killed 400 people in Hong Kong. Dear land comrades, furthermore, we as the farmers look at environmental destruction by science as a harmful effect of science. Science has led to the destruction of the ozone layer, which is supposed to protect us from the sun rays, directly from the sun rays from the earth. According to the UN report on environmental degradation, dated November 2018, ladies and gentlemen, it clearly says that the environment is being depreciated because of the rampant increase of industries in our generation. That's why we as farmers believe that this form of science is a threat to humanity. We keep asking, yes, science has come up with very good things, but of what use will it be to have very good agriculture, very good transport, very good agriculture, very good transport. At the end of the day, when the earth is destroyed, when the earth is destroyed, that means we shan't be able to benefit from the good agriculture, from the good transport given by the good science. I rest my case.
I stand here to negate the resolution. I want us to acknowledge that the one constant both our farmers have stated when they came up here is that yes, science is good. Both of them have stated it, and I want it to be put in record. And they have all gone on the main thing that they're using to base that science is the enemy of us, the people, is the nuclear bomb. I want the farmers to know that since Hiroshima and Nagasaki, there has never been the use of nuclear weapons in warfare. That is 74 years ago. And basing on such statistics, I want them to remember that the next Olympics are going to be in Japan. Why? They want the world to know that Japan, after all this time, has recovered from the nuclear attack they had that ended the World War.
Point of information.
Next. And then they talk about the supervirus, the genetically modified virus that killed 400 people. I want them to know that even before that happened, there have always been viruses in this world.
Point of information.
To Black Death in Europe. That was the bubonic plague. It almost wiped out
information.
Quarter of the population in Europe. Granted.
If science is not the enemy of the people, what is the enemy of the people?
Well, I'm going to get to that later on. Is that okay? All right. So, as I was saying, the Black Death that killed almost quarter of the population in Europe wasn't designed by science, it was completely natural. And it could be solved by something as simple as penicillin. But they did not have it then. And you could just, it's one of the worst things, the worst natural disasters that has ever happened to the world. But with the help of science, such simple things they just don't work anymore. And they're talking about the environment, yes? That requires two particular things for major environmental change: increase in carbon emissions in the environment and a decline in carbon absorbers. And let's accept, yes, science industries produce a lot of produce carbon, yes, but it's people, us, who cut down trees that are supposed to absorb it. And I want our farmers to understand that we are aware of what's happening. Industries are moving towards working with technology that doesn't release a lot of carbon and finding solutions to reducing the amount of carbon already in the environment, such as the chestnut tree, genetically modified tree designed to absorb carbon dioxide at a very high rate compared to the normal trees that were in the environment. And since I'm talking about genetically modified organisms, with the use of gene line editing and transgenetics, we have managed to create food that can sustain us, because World Food Organization believes that in the next 50 years, food production in the world is going to need to go up by 70% to sustain the incoming population. And the best way to do that is through genetically modified organisms in such a way that the same amount of nutrition required by a large amount of food can be placed in just a few foodstuffs, which will mean there will be enough nutrition for everyone, and we won't really need to increase the amount of production in food. Yes, our side, we believe that science is doing its best to help the world, and it is known that, like a farmer said at the very beginning, science did not start with the machines, it started from fire. Man has always found a way to simplify their way of living, which has impeded the use of technology, which is a part of us, and it has been developing with us, and the fear of nuclear war in the future is very, very slim, because all countries currently in possession of nuclear weapons know exactly how dangerous they are, and it is in their best interest never to use them because it will affect all of them. I rest my case.
This is the High School Crossfire. We'll be back in a minute.